Hi there, and welcome to the Live Vybrant Podcast, where we explore how to live with energy, purpose, and intention. I'm your host, Joshua Haag, a holistic lifestyle, performance, and success coach with a background in professional sports and 2 decades of coaching experience. Each week, I sit down with experts across a multitude of fields, including wellness, finance, and personal growth, to uncover practical strategies that will help you thrive in every area of life. Let's dive in and help you live your most vibrant life. Today, I'm so excited to bring to you Eric Miller. He's the CEO of Uplifted Athletics up in the North Valley here in Los Angeles, a good friend of mine. Eric, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Tell me a little bit about your background. We always start the show with just kind of, who are you? Why do I care? Before I kind of dive into the plethora of questions that I have for you as a fellow gym owner, just give us your background here.
I'm just a dude here, born and raised in the San Fernando Valley. Had a little rough upbringing. Was going to be a cop, was going to go to the military, kind of changed that route due to some family with some health reasons, and stuck around near town. So I put those other things on the back burner, kind of found kinesiology, which is like the study of movement, for those that don't know. I was all in as of 2010, so 15 years in the game ever since. Got my degree from Cal State Northridge. Got heavily involved with every type of clientele from youth to geriatrics, special populations. Found myself doing private corporate wellness. And then I saw an avenue for me where I was like, I think I could open up a gym and do things better than most gyms out here. So 2017, I decided to open up my own thing.
So it's 2017, Uplifted started, and how's it been going? How have you made it through COVID? Tell us Uplifted's story a little bit.
Yeah, so 2017, I always found this way of me kind of being a magnet towards people in regards to like relationships. So I always believed in like lifting others up, and that became like my motto. Always creating like a safe, fun environment, because fitness, all this stuff can be very scary, confusing. And I was like, I want to change that. So I came up with this name, Uplifted Athletics, and came up with this little logo that's like a little feathered U, everything kind of pointing upwards. Yeah, it's been a mission to just help the masses in regards to lifting weights. So we kind of bring lifting weights to the group exercise environment. And it's evolved since then, navigating through, you named it, the pandemic, and it's been an absolute roller coaster, an entrepreneurial roller coaster ever since 2017.
With Uplifted, and realistically, for this podcast, I bring on experts of all different fields, not just health and wellness, but obviously with you here today, it's health and wellness related. With Uplifted Athletics, what is your actual business model? I ask for the listeners to kind of understand the difference here. And I'm going to go in beyond that. So tell us your business model a little bit.
So we basically provide fitness to the busy professional who just wants to come in and no questions asked, a clear blueprint of what I should be doing. And we take the guesswork out and make them feel comfortable along the way.
Okay. But you're primarily small group training, correct?
Oh, yes. So small group training. We started out as a large group fitness, and it's evolved into a small group. And
so this is kind of my first kind of hit on point. And you know, for those of you who don't know, for those of you listening, my company specifically is one-on-one. And what that means is single person, you're in a room and you're coaching that individual. It's a very personal relationship, very heavy in terms of into each other's lives. And you are training, but it's really about that relationship. Dive into small group training for me a little bit. What is that? Why do I care? Why do you like it over individualized or one-on-one training? Just tell me about that mindset, because my time spent at Uplifted, and I've gone up and visited and worked with some of your coaches. It's an incredible business model, and I think you guys do it really well. And I'm asked a lot of the time in terms of when I'm interviewing people, when you know I'm in the sales process with somebody of should they do large groups, should they do small groups, should they do one-on-one, what works, what doesn't. Why did you choose small group? Tell me about your methodology. You do it so well. That's what I'm trying to get out of you here. Is tell me about that.
Of course. So there's kind of 2 avenues that you have to navigate and kind of talk about when we're talking about why we went through that kind of SGT route, small group. On the backside, so for a business to get more people in 1 hour just makes sense financially. You're just bringing more profits off the top. And also the coach gets a higher pay rate. So aside from those two things, to answer your question about the clientele, we have a kind of a way of saying like, yo, try one-on-one, try it first, try small group on us, try the large group and just tell us what you like. And we come to see and come to find out that like when small groups get together, they have this different energy of community, different energy of competitiveness. It's kind of very healthy, I guess you would say. And they're usually shacked up with like-minded individuals, same age range, but there's very opposites. We do men and women together too, for those that are okay with it. And yeah, it's up to the coach to just deliver a stellar product after that.
No, I love that. And I definitely think you hit the nail on the head with the community thing. And obviously there are those people who don't want that. They don't want to be around others. They want that quiet or private time. And that's where the one-on-one comes in. But, your community that you're creating up there, from things I see on social, from meeting the coaches, it's really spectacular. You should be very proud of yourself.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love it. How has that been, creating culture with staff, with the clients? And I know, correct me if I'm wrong, you were originally one-on-one, that you've switched over to a small group mindset.
Technically every entrepreneur, every coach kind of starts out doing some one-on-ones, and then they find themselves saying, oh, I think I can pull, one or two people, then three people, then four people. It either is going to be like a max 4 or 5 people in your small group, or it's going to be a large group. So those are basically your only coach options when you're in this field. But that transition for us, it's been kind of seamless, only because our coaches are adapted and they have been coached up on it, so to speak. So when you say culture, oh man, it does stem from the top. So it's up to me and my business partner to kind of set the tone and really make sure that we're running a tight ship here, but also more of a free-minded, your whatever you want to put on the table is okay, and we welcome it. So when we leave that kind of culture in there, we have some core values: empathetic character, growth mindset, always helping others. So those are some things that we all stand behind too. And ownership. I forgot that one. I barely remember my own core values.
I'm the same way. I always forget the last one. I think the reason that I really wanted to sit down with you, at least to start, was to help bring clarity to someone just jumping into the fitness space, just trying to figure out, where do I even begin? What would you recommend to them? Do you just throw someone who's walking into your gym into small group? Do you start them in one-on-ones? Do you throw them to large group? Like, how do you help someone who has no idea what they're doing jump into all of this and make sure they're safe, right, at the same time?
So great question. And we've been, this is something that's really, really hard for a gym that's kind of growing in scale. They see 30, 40, 50, 60 prospects a month. And we started changing the model where it's like, you can't just book your class. So what we started doing was getting people on a intro session. We call it an intro PT session. It's kind of more like a goal setting session. We sit down with you, we give you a tour, we go over a little movement, kind of assessment on the floor. And then we kind of sit back down and navigate you, say, this might be good to go into classes. You got the green light to do that. But we highly recommend, getting a session or two here just to get your foundation set. We noticed this, and this might be something that you want to work on.
Someone realistically who doesn't have who doesn't have the person directing them where to go. What happens if they live in Nebraska and they're just trying to conquer some fitness? I'm trying to give, as you, the expert in the room, them some steps to help kind of decide small groups for me, one-on-ones for me. Like, how would you coach that?
Yeah. So any listener that's listening right now, we got to remember that the professionals in the room got into this arena for a reason. And it was mostly in regards to health. Why do we move? Why do we have to lift weights? Why do we have to do cardio? Why do we have to care about our nutrition, our sleep? All of these things are just checklists that you want to create within your own life. So there are standards, what you should be doing every week. We hear these things all the time, but how often should you be doing cardio? 5 minutes or 5 days, 30 minutes. We should be lifting weights at least twice a week. We should be getting at least 7 hours of sleep. I think you're the expert on that, but yeah, that'd be a good start. Getting in a balanced nutrition. And if you're having trouble navigating any one of those variables right there, it's time to either get a coach to get some accountability, or create a vision board in your room. So there is check boxes that you're checking off on a daily, weekly basis.
What do you think, recently, because I'm going to start to turn this, and I always love to ask fitness people this next question, but what do you think some of the challenges are that you're seeing your clients face right now, right? Because for those listening, we've just been through the fires that were in the beginning of this year, right? As gyms in LA, right, gym closure rates are exceptionally high in terms of how fast turnover is for our industry, especially in this city. As someone who is successful, you're staying afloat, you're driving, right? You're growing. What do you see some of the challenges are that your clients are facing, right? What could you help them with in this call?
So the first biggest one is we all know that there's a lot of political, economic stuff going on all the time. And sometimes we have to really just turn off the TV, plug out the noise, I call it. And I'm always big on personal sovereignty and focusing on you and your house and making sure everything's in order, your health. And if, economics and politics are leaking in there, we got to shut that down, or at least minimize it. And then if it's things like fires, natural disasters, and things like that, like obviously that's a hardship. But the only thing that helps you get through that is community. So maybe latching on to some like-minded people, getting involved with a center, a facility, other groups, church, whatever it may be, just to help you kind of navigate your lane again.
The political space recently, have you paid attention to the RFK, what he's been doing in the health space? We're just going to keep it health space. Have you paid attention to that at all?
Very slightly. I know he's trying to change some ingredients and things that are have gotten the green light. Maybe he's trying to put a halt to that. That's kind of what my understanding is.
A halt to that, yeah. Basically going after vaccinations. Do you know enough information currently to have an opinion on it all in terms of, as a health coach, right? Our job is to guide our client and to help give real coaching and information to them. So I don't get too political with anyone. However, something like the health and wellness, very targeted health and wellness concept. Do you have any opinion on the overarching theme? Is it going in the right direction? Is there anything we should be aware of?
Hell yeah. I got a great opinion. I think, and I'm not, I don't lean any which way, but
of course,
getting into this industry, into this space, it's allowed me to just open my eyes about a few things. We need to feed the body of what it needs, proper fuel. And if anything is like some unknown ingredients or anything that's protruding its way in, it's like we need to get that shit the hell out of there. And we have to come back to like basics and our foundation. And people before us is like, what were we doing? We were moving, we were outdoors, those are the things that we should be focusing on. And if there's anything that's affecting that or changing the way we do that, it's like we got to go back to our basics and foundations.
I think it's really interesting that through all of this, like the lowest hanging fruit is the number of people that, now mind you, some of my clients have been with me for a decade. The number of people that I have seen all of a sudden out of the blue start to read labels. They're starting to read the words underneath your FDA panel. Like, here's the actual ingredient list, and this has got this food coloring and this word that I can't pronounce. And I'm getting pictures from people of like, hey, is this an okay protein? Yeah. Right. And it's like, I've been doing this for a long time and it's never happened until within the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a chef. Like, this is what I do. This is what you do. And it's very fascinating to sit back and see how many people are like, oh, wait a minute. I need to actually pay attention to what's going in my body.
Yeah.
Correct. In my eyes, I think, on a large scale, not getting nitty gritty on any of the actual policies or changes, I do think it is a big movement forward in terms of positives for our health and wellness and getting us back to a bodily state that we can be proud of, I think, as a country, as a population. I truly, firmly believe it all starts with awareness. And that's just my opinion, right? And if you think about how you coach, right, you probably start talking about, well, you should walk once a day. And they start to think about it. Well, that's creating awareness. Well, you should maybe have some protein at dinner, creating awareness. It's just speeding that process up, I think. Cool. What else? What other problems before I turn the ship here a little bit? What other problems do you see clients facing right now that if you could just yell it out, that to fix things, or that really you hear often?
Yeah, it's basically that there's a lot of information out there. There's so much information. There's so much influencers. There's so many people saying this and that, and it's really hard to navigate what information is correct. So maybe
how do you as a coach navigate it? Don't even worry about them. How do you figure out new training methodologies or new ways of thinking or new things to give to your clients? What's your process?
Here at the facility, we do like monthly seminars that we host, and they're all knowledge based. They're free of charge. We get people in a room and we just talk about the given topic that day. It might be about weightlifting. That's a big one because we're 90% female over here. Weightlifting's been a big myth that we should stay away from, and it's going to make me big and bulky. Type of stuff like that. But more so, it's like, dude, it's for all those words we throw around: bone density, metabolism, hormones. Oh, so we're talking about the real things and why we do it. So that's the whole point of these seminars and some of the knowledge we give through our emails, and all free of charge. Yeah.
Cool. So you give them that's all for your members. I'm talking for you. Sorry, I misunderstood. I'm talking for you. How do you dissect and find new information as the head coach?
Got you. Yeah. So we got to stay relevant ourselves. Having people like you around come in and talk to us. But yeah, whoever someone is certified through, we have our coaches within kind of talk about topics, and whether it's through NASM, whether it's through ACE, all accredited. We just bring topics to the table, discuss, round table.
Okay. And so easy enough, as clients, if I'm a client in this seat, and I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of this wealth of knowledge that it's like almost an overwhelming sea. And it's actually part of my Perform Better presentation is going through this of like, we're failing our clients as coaches because of that sea of information. And how many coaches, how many reels and pop-ups do you see that are just incredibly bad, that you're watching it as a coach, like, oh God. So for your client, okay, or someone listening that doesn't have access to Uplifted right now, how do you help them decipher the sea of knowledge, just Instagram or TikTok kind of thing? How do you help them understand how to filter and find good, relevant training, good information?
That's a good question. It's kind of like, picking a physician, picking a doctor, do they have the title behind them? Have they studied this topic? Have they, research a little bit about who you're listening to first, and kind of going from there. Yeah, hopefully they show some proof and evidence that they've helped some cases and have been in the game for hopefully more than 10 years.
And for those listening, a rule of thumb that I always throw at anybody, any of my new clients, trainers that I'm training, anything, if you can't explain to me what the exercise is or is doing, you should not be doing it. If someone is doing some sort of pull-up thing with a medicine ball and they're throwing it left and right, and you're standing there going, ooh, that's cool, I'm going to try it. Well, what does it do? Why are you doing it? And if you cannot turn around and tell me, oh, that's for this piece of the body and it's working this hand, blah, blah, blah. No, just walk away. Just walk away.
On to the next.
Yep. Exactly. It keeps us in the game. My favorite question to ask, fitness entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited. I'm going to have Rocky Snyder on here in a future podcast, as well as Dr. Jenna Gates, and anyone in the fitness realm. I love it. Where do you see the future of fitness going? If you look at Uplifted in 2017 to where you are today, you've had an incredible 8 years.
This is 7 years with a brick and mortar.
Where are we going? Where is fitness as a whole going? What should we look out for? Have you even thought about it?
Dude, yeah. I'm always trying to stay a step ahead and just think about, where is this going? I've listened to some very big heads out there, like the Thomas Plumbers, and was a part of a mentorship last year and bringing great info to the table. And the future of fitness, it's going towards like the boutique gyms, kind of like us. And it's up to us to kind of be an all-in-one plethora of health and fitness. That's where I kind of see us going. And I've thought about this heavily, and it's like, dude, Uplifted, we have a chiropractor in-house. We have a physical therapist in-house. We do need like a dietitian, future speaking. And if we're really talking about future, if I want that client to have access to everything that might happen to them, nutritional support, pain, recovery, that's where I need to start thinking. So that means I need some type of recovery room in this place. I need, maybe it's going to lead towards having some nurses in there, maybe blood work, maybe IV drips, maybe, just for total health and fitness optimization.
And I think you hit the nail on the head and I'll say as a piece of it, from my opinion, total health optimization. Yes. You said blood work, nail on the head. I don't know how much you've paid attention to this gene testing that's really come out and figuring out, right, your genome and deficiencies there. Huge. It's very much forefront of what we're doing in health sciences, and the all-in-one spot, the all-in-one stop. I think it blends into what you had said before about community. I think people, when you're going towards this boutique space, I agree with you that they're moving away from the big box gym and they want to feel supported when they walk into a space, and they don't want to feel like a number.
Yeah.
And I think as the evolution of the fitness goer kind of has come about, the older population seems to be okay trying to stand on their own 2 feet, just taking in like some random images they saw or a quick video and going to squat. I personally see a younger population, and I'm talking 40 and below, 35 and below. They don't want to do it alone. Yeah. They're afraid to do it. They're afraid to hurt their body. They don't have the courage to start. They don't have the accountability. There's a lot of things. They also just want people with them, whether it's a single coach, whether it's a group. So it's how can you cultivate that energy and space? So I think you hit the nail on the head. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more.
We actually changed our culture within that, what you're talking about right now, 2 years ago. We went to a seminar down in San Diego by IHRSA, and we had someone speak to us about, the experience of someone walking into your gym, and we created touch points for it. So it's like, as soon as you walk into our gym, you're given a slight tour, you're welcomed, you're paired up with a OG member that's been with us, you get shout outs at the beginning of ending of class, and we follow up with you as soon as you leave. It's like walking into a classroom for the first time in high school or college, and you're just sitting in the corner, and we're like, we need to never create that experience for our people.
The number of gyms that I've been into to talk and help and just kind of give business advice to that don't think through that process, that it is a process. It is a replicable thing that you can create that system to really make someone feel appreciated. Like, think about how hard we on the business side work to get someone to come try us. I know I can help you. I know I can fix you. But the amount of steps we have to take to get them assured, I think that's fantastic. Is those touch points you're creating. I think it's huge in terms of your retention. That's brilliant. Great job.
Yeah.
What's the next, we talked about recovery and nutritionists, all that. What's the next thing for Uplifted? So yes, big picture is we're moving towards that community, that all-encompassing stop and shop. But what's the immediate next? Let's say by the end of the year, or maybe midway, like full year, so midway of next year. What are we looking forward to here?
So we're kind of like split up. You've been to our facility. We're kind of got like one facility off to the side, and then we got our main one.
So for those listening, like he had said, think of it literally 2 buildings split by a parking lot. That's like a lane of cars to park, and on one side it is their, you would call it your solo space, one-on-one training. Then the other side is small group. So it's 2 different buildings. Just so we're clear.
So by 2026, we're hoping that we can just combine it all together so that there's more visual and like everybody seeing each other doing other things, and that'll just draw community together. Not to say that our community is not bad or anything, but it'll help with that. And I speak closely with our chiro and our PT, and we're always talking about what's next, and creating recovery rooms.
Yep.
That's the next big thing for us. If I could create just that
recovery rooms. You want to talk about, health benefits, the forefront of health. People are finally starting to listen and understand that they have to do the taking care of their body. I think it's spot on. How you integrate it is tough, right? Because it's a big operation. Just putting saunas in the men's room and the women's room, people are like, oh, this will be easy. Keeping them running, keeping them clean and sanitary, and it's an operation. Yeah. Same thing with cold tubs. They break down all the time. Again, have cleanliness problems because people aren't showering before they get into them. It's an issue. I love that though. I think it's brilliant. I think you absolutely should. I'm a fan. I'd come to Uplifted. I'd come hang.
We're leaning more towards the saunas and the cold knee sleeves, some massage therapy, some, just start with the basics of what we should, but getting people breaking down the walls and letting them know like, oh, recovery is, it's an important avenue here.
Recovery-based performance has been something I have preached since I played. It's stuck with me. I love that. Changing gears outside of Uplifted, Talk to me. I know you're a father, family man. Tell me a little bit more about you specifically.
Yeah, dude. So, 39, just had a birthday here in June.
Oh, happy
Um,
birthday, bud.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I got a little 5-year-old boy running around. And yeah, ever since having him, he's changed kind of why I do things and the purpose. And I have my lovely wife, and yeah, she's my biggest supporter. She keeps me grounded. I'm the crazy one. So, but yeah, that's our home. Healthy, living life, getting outside, vacationing when we can. She's a nurse, so her field kind of correlates with mine a lot
Yep.
too. We have nice, good discussions. But yeah, they absorb my time outside of the gym, and yeah, I still hit the weights hard. Still, I don't compete in bodybuilding anymore or anything like that. So
You just live for the fun of it. How's it been? How's it been balancing the CEO role as well as a family man? I know it's hard for a lot of people. How's that been? What's that journey?
it's tough, and I always suggest people get some mentorship with that firsthand, and then if things are still kind of rough, get a therapist. Be open, talk about things, because we're not taught how to have a kid. We're not taught how to have a healthy marriage. We're not taught how to be a CEO. So it's like you have to be surrounded by individuals that have either done it or doing it and have some
Mm-hmm.
advice. So I've always been big on that. Family, fitness, finance, and business is like you need someone in each avenue of that.
What have been some of your biggest challenges, and then the counter to that, what have been the things that have helped you through for someone listening who might be going through the same thing?
Biggest challenges is just time. You tend to lose that when you get the kid. You kind of lose that. I'm absorbed by the business, so I do have to not bring that side of things home. Kind of sitting in the garage for a minute before, walking into the front doors. But just you have to take care of your health first. You have to take care of your headspace first. And if you're finding leaks within any part of those big four that I mentioned, business, family, finance, you need to seek help and get someone to kind of navigate that avenue with you.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I just sat last week with she's actually a burnout specialist and a women's health coach. And I feel, men, women aside, I feel like there were so many great coaching points that we can draw from in terms of our conversation, someone else's. And you hit the nail on the head. And it's kind of about flipping that script that I think a lot of the times, especially my high performers, I'm fortunate enough to train like yourself, like CEOs, really just hardworking people. They end up trying to give so much. They're focused on the family. They're focused on the business. They're focused on all these other things. Well, they forget that you can't pour from an empty cup. And just getting them to flip the script of protect your time, give me an hour a week of selfish time. Go sit on the couch and stare at the wall. I don't care what you do, but you sit in the car for a little bit. Great. Do you journal? Do you exercise? You start to take little bits of time in the week, and all of a sudden productivity goes up, time, quality, presentness with the family goes up. And it's that little like life coaching boost that sometimes people need to hear to really make themselves more relevant in the space that they're in.
Yeah, if you're any kind of manager, any kind of operator, like you said, your calendar is the most strict thing. Like who you let in, when you let them in, your buffer days to get things done. They're so crucial to your success.
I know I am not as good as I should be about it, trying to spin all the plates that I am. And it just gets away from me. And I can take that one more call. Oh, I'll move this meeting. And then all of a sudden you're working a 15-hour day. You get home and I have an hour before I have to wake up for work tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
I don't have a son.
Yeah. Some people look at me and they're like, man, you're kind of a dick. But it's like more so like, hey, the hour is up. Like I got my next meeting. I got to go.
You're just a day.
But yeah, I'm constantly giving myself away to the staff. I mean, we have 14 employees, so there's always one-on-one meets, there's group meets, there's overall business meets. We do coaches and coffee. It's wild.
Yeah. I love it. That's amazing, man. So realistically, and I don't know how much I've told you about, my new venture. It's called Vybrant. The new company is Vybrant. This is the Live Vybrant podcast, right? Like we said.
Yes.
And what do you do in your day to live a little bit more vibrant? I always kind of like to rip people apart a little bit or ask questions, because sometimes someone needs to hear something again. They need to hear a different viewpoint. It's like when you hear coaching from mom and dad all the time, but then Uncle John says the same thing. And it's like, oh my God, Uncle John had this great idea. What do you do to be more vibrant? You're Uncle Eric right now. So what do you do?
Dude, it starts with your surroundings. Even from like the device that you're holding in your hand right now, the phone, whatever. There's got to be some positive reinforcement there, some positive affirmations. You should see my office right now. I got greatness demands everything. I got some signs in here. It's not the cards that you're dealt. It's how you play them. I got my bodybuilding trophies here. I've been on a cardio kick here, so I've done some half marathons, some beasts, some Spartans.
And you turn the bodybuilding trophies around so they don't look at you.
But yeah, I got my vision boards, and your brain works in a specific way, and it needs to know the end game. It needs to know where it's going. It needs to know what's the end result we're searching for here. And if you can just give glimpses of the brain, then you're winning already. So it starts there. But you heard me just this morning. You know, I make time for my 45-minute walk every day. I get outside, get grounded. Sometimes I'm like no headphones and just nature.
And for those who don't understand what is grounded, it's an important thing. Coaches always talk about it, but a lot of people don't understand what it is.
Dude, just kind of getting back to earth and feeling earth and absorbing its energy and breaking away from everything so that you have clarity.
To dive a little bit more into it, if people don't understand, basically it's all about electrical ions, electrical transference in terms of energy. And when you live in a heavy city, like a heavy concrete, brick, hard gravel, you're basically not taking in the energy, quote unquote, or that negative ion from the earth. And our body needs that to kind of help, we'll just call it regulate itself. And I'm trying to dumb this down. And so basically, and if you're sitting here listening to this like, I don't understand it. Do you ever go camping or do you ever go walk on the beach for 3 days and all of a sudden you come back and you're in this great mood and you don't know why, and your digestion is fixed up and your headaches are gone and your muscles are less tense, you lost a little bit of weight. A lot of that comes from the fact of your body was basically this skewed version of itself because it's irregulated in terms of its electrical impulses, electrical balance, we'll call it. And it comes down to you actually take that negative, I believe it's a negative ion from the earth. If you're going to ground, what is your grounding practice? Because I think this is a great coaching point that I want to give people. What is your practice?
Yeah, so at the minimal, it's like get some sun. Just go outside and get some sun. We don't have access to like walking on a beach and grass, but if you can, take off your shoes once in a while. If you can meditate, if you could just find some 5-10 minutes of silence and just listen to the birds chirping while on the grass or while on the sand, that's huge. But yeah, that's at the minimal.
And so, we might not all have access to the different pieces of footing. However, I will say specifically to do grounding, and with air quotes, I say to do specifically grounding, you must be making contact, bare skin, to the earth. Sun is great. He hit the nail on the head and you should be in the sun. No sunglasses. Take that baby in. However, if you want real grounding, you have to be in contact, preferably, your feet. You can lay on the grass off of a blanket, like be in dirt, just to make sure we're very clear about that coaching point. However, he hit the nail on the head in terms of an overall recovery and mental space, pathway that he calls grounding. I think is fantastic. But I just wanted to differentiate the two. Beyond just your, mental recovery space, what do you do as that CEO dad, juggling everything? How do you get your workouts in? What do you do? How do you balance it?
It's fucking tough. But so my wife works graveyard. She works night shifts. When she is working, I'm with the little one, and my workout sessions turn into an afternoon session, or when I can get it in, but I always get it in. When she's not working, I wake up 4 a.m. I'm at the gym at 5. I'm done. I get my cardio right after that. Those are like non-negotiables, absolute non-negotiable.
Every day?
5 days.
Attaboy. That's impressive. That's hard to do. I don't know if anyone listening has or has not worked out at 5 a.m. It sucks.
Yeah.
It is just brutal. I am so proud of Eric right now. It is so hard.
So in order for that to happen, it's like your sleep has to be in check. I mean, she knows I have to be in bed by 9:30. That's non-negotiable as well.
What's your sleep routine?
So the phone, the electronics are put away an hour before. That's like the best I could do because of the little one and everything going on in the house. Food's like maybe 3 hours before bed. Trying not to drink fluids, maybe an hour out. I'm always making sure that I'm getting 6.5. That's like the best I can do with current situations. Do take like a couple like zinc, magnesium, ashwagandha, like some stuff at night. But my nutrition and supplementation has to be on point every day too, in order for everything to be in check. As an operator, you just have to be extremely efficient.
I know, I think, I ask him what his sleep hygiene is, his sleep routine. So many people don't even understand what that concept is, right? And that's the purpose of the sleep book, right? And so sleep hygiene and sleep routine. Routine is going to be the series of events before you fall asleep. What are you doing? He said phones are down, right? Getting off that blue light, letting his cortisol come down. He's doing a specific supplement routine. That's great. And he's doing these things habitually. That's called a sleep routine. Sleep hygiene is the entire encompassing program that he has in his head for sleep. And we all have something different. For me, it's a hot shower. It helps me regulate my nervous system. I have to, and I'll stand in the shower until I get sleepy. It might be 10 minutes. It might be 3 minutes. It's my thing. And I stand in the shower. But I can tell you, boy, when I travel, no matter where I am, who I'm with, if I get in a hot shower, I am asleep afterwards. So what you do is you train your nervous system to have specific responses to the stimuli you're giving. He hit the nail on the head. That's awesome. I would say take your ashwagandha in the morning because it's technically an adaptogen, which will actually uptick your energy a little bit. So technically it's counterintuitive at night. So some people have adverse effects while they sleep. As I've dove into the studies and trying to start to understand like where people are failing in terms of their sleep, you hit the nail on the head. So that's great.
Dark lights, cool temps.
Yeah. And why do you let's see, quiz time for coach. Why do you keep it cool? Why do you keep your room cool? This is a fun fact. It's pretty cool.
Oh, dude, I just took that from a book.
What did we say about fitness? If you don't know what it does or why they're doing it, you shouldn't do it.
But I think my understanding on that is regulating body temp and
specifically brain. It's specifically helping because your brain needs specific temperatures to really help down regulate and break down thought and memory throughout the night. It works better when it's cold. Let's just leave it like that in the most simplest of terms. With that being said, that's why you always have to be under blankets because the rest of your body is freezing, but your head really likes that nice cool space. That's why you feel so much more refreshed. And in a hot room, you almost wake up and you feel foggy and you feel out of it. It's because your brain didn't get a chance to cool down. It's almost, think of it like a computer. You got to cool the operating system down. You got to cool the RAM down, or like the CPU down for it to work efficiently, right? Same thing happens with your brain. Very cool. So I kind of like to wrap up and just ask from a general coaching point. Coaches have questions. Like everybody that I've met on the podcast has always had some really great intuitive fitness questions. It's your chance to quote unquote ask an expert because realistically someone else has the same question. So what's been in your mind, whether it's from clients, whether it's your own questions?
So a couple of questions that always kind of run through my head, and I always wonder how other professionals are kind of dealing with it in their head. I guess the first one would be like, how relevant is diet to overall health?
Like diet from a quote unquote nutritional breakdown, diet as in the thing that you follow every day?
In both standards. So like if someone's coming to us and they're like, my health is shit, my doctor wants me to hop on this med, I have to hop on this, I don't want to do this. Yes, they know they should be moving, but what should they be doing for their diet?
It's a bit of a complex question, but I will say this: get your blood work done first and foremost, get a genetic methylation test. Get those two things done. With that, you have all of the tools needed to now basically dipstick inside your car engine and say, what's wrong? There is no way that you can tell me that diet means nothing when it comes to optimal performance, right? Whether you're doing PT, whether you're talking about being the fastest sprinter in the world, whether you're just mom trying to lose 5 pounds.
Yep.
You're putting fuel into the engine of the car. What the fuel is matters, right? An Indy car, an F1 car can't run off of water. It has to run off of a high octane ethanol. Your body is the same thing. We can micromanage that equation and really nail it down. That's where the blood work comes in and the genetic methylation test. But for the overarching population, right? So when I coach our people, right, I'm a nutritionist and chef. When I talk about food, the problem that we face, and you probably see this all the time, people have such an emotional connection to food that coaching nutrition is not about the nutrition. It's about the mental state that they have with it. And, I don't like this because of this. Well, it's because they had trauma when they were a kid dealing with eggs, and now they don't like the texture, and that trauma's coming back out. It becomes this monster to slay. I coach it very differently. I coach them as like physical coaching and nutritional coaching is completely separate. And I only coach nutrition with those who are willing to tackle it in terms of like hard nutrition coaching. Other than that, I just give guidelines, just trying to help people make good choices. Eat more protein. Do you have protein at every meal, right? Eat less sugar, right? Basic stuff that people just don't want to hear. So how important or relevant is it? Dude, you can't out-eat or you can't out-work out. You can't outrun a bad diet. That's the saying. And that really matters. That really means something. What that diet is, if you're vegan, great. If you're carnivore, great. I don't care. I'll work within your realm of what you're willing to eat. But at the end of the day, numbers are numbers. You have to hit macros. You have to hit your caloric intake. You have to hit your correct mineral profile. You have to hit your correct micronutrient profile, which means you're getting the small nutrients that your body needs. And at the same time, you're getting the really important energy type stuff.
So I think what you're hitting on is that there's a base standard of homeostasis that we need to accomplish first.
And pizza and French fries aren't going to get you there. Or they might get you there, but you also might die at 55 from a heart attack. And if that's what you want, then you can survive. But for you and I, we're trying to change people's lives and sit in a space where they're afraid or they're ashamed of where their body's at. Our job is to get them away from the pizzas and French fries, right? And show them that there is another way to live that is still delicious and fun and happy. And what else you got?
So that's the dinner table type of stuff. And if we're moving on to the training floor, how would you prescribe a fitness routine in regards to like the FIT principle?
What's FIT for those who don't know what it is?
Yeah, the FIT principle, if in acronyms, F would be like frequency of workouts, the intensity of the workouts, the type of workouts, and how much time do you allot? Like what would be the general prescription that you would give an individual?
Got it. Obviously, everything I'm about to say is contradictory or controversial, however you want to say, because every fitness coach has a different sauce. That's what makes some Italian restaurants better than others. For me, if I were to design the perfect human being, I want 3 days a week of strength training. And that's 2 days of hard strength training, 1 day of HIIT, H-I-T, high intensity interval training. Yeah, spelling. 3 days a week. I don't care where those 3 days are. And that's technically 2 days of real strength and 1 day of that HIIT. And we're looking for different metabolic principles with the two different. Mm-hmm. What interval? I don't care about the spacing. If you're going on a trip, right, and the back end of your week is screwed up, do them all 3 in a row. I view the week based off of a 7-day week in terms of overall capacity or load, meaning the amount of stress your body's taking on. I don't look at it as a micromanagement of the day because let's face it, life happens. The number of clients that I walk into and this one's gotten an argument, that one hurt themselves, this one didn't sleep. You have to be able to fluctuate when it comes to your frequency of doing things in your intervals. I expect 2 days of cardio, and I prefer that to be steady state, low intensity. What that means is below 65% theoretical max heart rate. In layman's terms, we should be able to hold a chit chat while we're doing our hot girl walking down the street. You and me talking it up. I'm not out of breath to the point where I can't right? I want to just chit chat. And with that, you're looking to burn again at different rates metabolically. There is no such thing as a fat burn zone. You burn carbohydrates, oxygen, and fat all in harmony while you're working out. It's just at what level are you burning them? And when you're in that low intensity for cardio, that is going to be your most optimal fat burn zone. You're still burning oxygen, you're still burning carbohydrates, but I like that low intensity. So you figure we're doing 3 days of strength. That's 2 weights, 1 HIIT. We've got 2 days of cardio. I don't care what the cardio is. Go swim, go walk, go elliptical, go row your boat. I don't care. It's got to be low intensity. And then realistically, time-wise, I do not believe you should be working out for more strength training, more than 45 minutes. You have a 15-minute warm-up, a 45-minute strength training, and then you are done. If you are working out longer than that, you are just destroying your body. If you cannot get your exercise done in 45 minutes, you are screwing around looking at the pretty girls in the gym. Get it done. Basically, and this is one of the biggest failures I think I see in fitness, is people don't apply intensity. Show up, get your shit done, get out. You will see substantially more benefits versus a 2-hour workout. And then all of a sudden your tendons hurt, you're exhausted, your energy systems are down. Oh, and by the way, you're not seeing any change physically because your body runs out of energy. So 45 minutes is kind of my max cap. I don't ask for anything more than that cardio wise. Obviously, if you're going to Disney with the family and you're going to walk around for 6 hours, do it. I'm not going to say don't. But if we're looking for the optimum human being, it's 2, 1, and then 2, right? 2 strength, 1 hit day, and then 2 cardio days. Then from there, I want to add one last piece, if y'all, for those who are still listening at this point. After the age of 30, I want to see 1 10 to 15 minute recovery session a week every decade. 30 to 40 has 1. 40 to 50 has 2. 50 to 60 has 3. 60 to 70 has 4. That means on top of everything else you're doing, you are applying directed 10 to 15 minutes of true soft tissue work, stretching, mobilization, releases, myofascial work. It could be, I hate chiropractics, but chiropractics. It could be massage every week. And that's every decade from 30 on up. You have 1 extra. And then that's kind of my secret sauce.
Great answer.
It was a great question. I was like, well, here we go. All right. We have a couple minutes. I'll give you one more. And then I'm gonna have to leave you for now.
My last and final question would have to be and we touched on it a little bit, but since you're the man to talk to about this, optimize our sleep quality. What do we need to do?
I have found that sleep problems really come about because of 4 main bullet points with a kind of a 5th. It's lifestyle, habits, stress, internal imbalances, and then a single-minded approach. So what that means is it's kind of a boil down effect. First things first, it's your lifestyle. It's the whole thing that creates you. And sleep imbalances and sleep problems, whether it's things happening at night, whether you can't wake up, whether you're peeing too much, whether you're groggy when you wake up, whether you can't fall asleep, whether you have a voice in your head, all of it means something. And I really dove into dissecting what each of these means and what their solutions are in the book. But the overarching theme is your lifestyle. So that's you work too much. Your wife always has a problem of yelling at you before bed. That's a lifestyle thing. That's not a habit. You're not choosing to do that. That is something that is happening to you on the overarching scale, right? You're a CEO of a company. You're working late hours. That's a lifestyle. It's not a habit. Habits are going to be the things like your sleep hygiene, your sleep routine that you're doing consistently or the lack thereof. And a lot of people do not have successful habits. They have habits that are taking away from their ability to sleep well. They're on their phones really late at night. They're not wearing blue light glasses. They're eating late at night. They are eating the wrong foods. They're eating high sugar foods. They're drinking late at night. Those are some very off the top easy habits that take away from your ability to sleep well. Then we get into stress. So this is a little bit deeper. This is now we're talking more hormones. We're talking cortisol, dopamine, kind of figuring out where we sit with all of that. And a lot of the times people don't understand that something as simple as sitting on Instagram doom scrolling is actually spiking cortisol, which is making you more stressed before bed. Even if you fall right to sleep, the sleep that you are getting, your heart rate variability, which is your gaps between beats, is going to go down, meaning it's going to be faster, like pitter patter, and your resting heart rate will go up. We want to see the inverse option. So stress being high is going to force our body, even though you might fall asleep, it's going to force the actual sleep that you get to be less effective. And most people just say, I fell asleep for 7 hours. I'm good. I'm waking up. I'm good. No. Yes, you happen to have fallen asleep, but is the sleep you're getting efficient? Are you in the right amounts of REM sleep, deep sleep, that light or surface level sleep? When you wake up, how are you waking up? What is the system at which you do to wake up? What do you do after you wake up? All of this matters in terms of regulating stress for the day, and then in turn, helping us have less stress to come into the night. It's a cyclical pattern. Last but not least is internal imbalances. And what I mean by this is there are some people who have genetic mutations. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a mutant, but you have genetic predisposition to not sleep well. Those people who, for instance, their voice runs when they go to fall asleep, right? They talk about the fact that I lay down to go to sleep at night and all of a sudden I start thinking about random things. Well, your brain basically, as much as we create thought, we have to break down thought. Well, if you do not have the right chemical makeup from different processes within the body in terms of, methylations and whatnot, you don't have the ability to break down the thought at night. There's nothing that you've done wrong. It's just internally you're off. You'll have people who have less production of melatonin. That's one of them. This is where we start to get into supplementation. This is why I've created my sleep supplement, is to help kind of combat that stress and internal imbalances mechanism where you might need a little assistance. But a lot of the times, a lot of drugs that you see, like the heavy melatonin drugs, things like Lunesta, things like, what's the other big one? NyQuil, they actually damage a lot of the nutrient balances that are within your system. They're not good for you long term. So that was my hope, is to create that product to fight that internal imbalance. And then when I say single-minded approach, it's the fact of people don't understand that it takes a lot of different things to come together to actually create successful sleep, just like working out. I don't just walk into the gym, get on the treadmill for 6 minutes and leave and I lose 50 pounds. Come on. It doesn't work like that. So the body, when it comes to sleep, when it comes to true recovery, you've got to start putting together this whole repertoire of choices that you're making, nutrients that you're giving it, things you're doing while you're sleeping in terms of room temperature and where you're laying and sleeping positions. All of that comes together to create this better quality. Some of it you can do on your own. Some of it you need help with in terms of blood work and in terms of like genetic testing and things like that. That's where like an expert like us would come into play. It's complex and people do not realize or respect that it is. But if you can start to get ahead of it, if you can start to think like we're talking right now, you will see such an uptick in your life. It's not even funny. And it's very simple, low-hanging fruits to correct that really just turn the key for a lot of people. It's hard. Let's face it. For instance, after you've been working all day, you get home to your son and talking to your wife, you get an hour to lay down at 9:00 at night. You finally get that quiet time. You don't want me to tell you as your coach, you have to put your phone down. You want to sit there for a little while and screw around. That's where it gets really difficult. That's kind of the overarching theme. That's for another day. It's a fantastic question, but hopefully I brought a little clarity to you. I know I didn't dive too deep into it.
Dude, I'm super excited. I want to take a look at that book and I want to hear all about this.
Deal. When it's through publishing, when it's finally done, I will make sure I get you a copy and hopefully help you a little bit. Well, listen, Eric, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to spend with me today. I really hope the listeners enjoyed. I know I have. I really appreciate you as a friend and a colleague. Thank you for being here.
Dude, thank you so much, Josh, for having me. It's been
Of course. And if you're in the Valley, for those listening in Los Angeles, Uplifted Athletics, I forgot to say, where do we find you? How can I check you out? You and your pretty face.
Yeah. Instagram, Uplifted Athletics. Website, www.upliftathletics.com. Yeah.
And what's the address of your gym?
1023 Pico Street in San Fernando, California, 91340.
Beautiful. You go in there, you give Eric my name, say, I heard Josh on the podcast. It's a free session on me, I promise.
Oh, we got you.
Deal. Go ahead in, guys. It's been a pleasure. Eric, Uplifted Athletics. Have a great day.
Lift others up.
See you, bud.